In 10 minutes. Well, hello there, everybody. Delighted to be with you and looking forward to this evening's rapid fire session. I'm sure that you can see that there's opportunities to talk about yourself and what's going on in your life in the chat box. I've muted everybody to make sure we've got a nice clean recording for this as well, so we can send you the recording afterwards in case you have to zip away. But please put your whatever you'd like to do in the chat box, as long as it's polite, of course, and I can bring the chat box up on screen, you see, like this. So good evening, Jill. Lovely to see you there. And who else are we talking about? Who else has put it on LinkedIn? So why don't you tell us where you are in the world or what's exciting about what's happening for you at the moment? I know what's exciting for me is doing this because I can't remember the last time I did an evening event, and I can't remember the last time I tried to squeeze 2 hours of content into 40 minutes. So you can imagine I'm going to speak fairly quickly so we get it all in. Right, so where we are, who's here? Oh, so John's there, I can see, from Hartford in the UK. And good evening, everybody. That's from Andrew. And who else is there? Jerry Briggs is there from sunny Oxford. And everybody's sunny. So let's hope everybody turns up because it's a lovely day out there. And sunny even in Birmingham, Darrell. That's fantastic, isn't it? And, oh, where's this from? This is from Murfreesboro in Tennessee, USA. Well, Jay David, great to have you here. And Rachel's there from sunny Leamington Spa. I'm from Cambridge from Marie. And Graham from amazing Aldershot, of course, Graham. And Neil from Shropshire. And Billy Schwer from Box Clever with Willie. With Billy. Good evening, Billy. I hope things are smashing with you as always. Great to have you all here and really looking forward to getting this going. Where we are on the time, where are we ticking down? We're just 3 minutes to go and then we will get going with these ideas. In fact, if I just bring this slide back up, we've got that one there, brings that in, and also we've got this. We're going to get going in just a minute or two. So with all of these things, the 40 minutes business breakthrough webinar. I'm excited. Let's get going. Right. Here's Andy in sunny Kent too. Oh, Paul there. Paul, lovely to see you here. Thanks very much indeed for the book. I was showing it to somebody the other day who was mightily impressed with it. They weren't reading it, but they just looked at the way you put it together. So beautiful content and beautifully put together. Well done, you. Great to have you here. And Jill's here. And recognizing some friendly faces, which is fantastic. Well, hopefully I'm one of those, Jill. And John's here from Salisbury, and Tony Preston's there. Hi, Tony. Love to see you on Tuesday. Great to see you again here. And while we're just waiting these last few moments, what about what's exciting in your business at the moment? Anybody got exciting they want to put in the chat box? And I can bring that on screen. Hiya, Bob. Good to see you too. Well, I say see you. I'm obviously talking to you there. And then Alan Smith's coming in, which is wonderful. Oh, yes, a lot of people coming in now, which is great. Okay, there's Roy and there's Geraldine who are joining us at the moment. Right, Jill, what's happening with Jill? She's running a 6-month program for the Cirencester Growth Hub. I know they're going to get some fantastic information from you, Jill. Almost at the end of the tax season in the USA. So is that good news, Jay David? I imagine that it probably is. Let me just do that for a moment. Excuse me 1 second. And back with you there. So 1 minute to go. Oh, great mention. Well, why wouldn't I mention it for you, Paul? Very much so. Yeah, fantastic looking book. And I will get round to reading. I have a lot on my reading list at the moment, but I will certainly get round to reading it. Somebody else wants an agreement on that. Let me just approve that. Good. Good. And Mike Besant is there as well, and Eloise. Well, just counting down now. I really am concerned about how I'm going to get all this content in, so I will have to speak very quickly. That's an excuse as we get going, isn't it? So here we go. Let's do it now. So let's get going. So what we're going to be talking about is the 40-minute business breakthrough webinars and the 7 hidden keys to charging the right fees and being paid what you're worth. So a couple of things to mention right at the start. Number one, I am really excited to share these tried and tested and proven ideas with you because they are tried and tested in the real world. However, there is something that I need to say to you right at the start, and it's this. I don't have all the answers. I've been in business now for more years than I can probably count to, a long, long time. And during that period, I've had some stunning successes and also some fantastic failures. And I've probably learned more from the failures than I did from the successes, but we'll be going through all of these key ideas. I'm going to give you ideas, next idea, and that what I call next level idea as well. Then when we get right to the end of our session tonight, which is a 40-minute session, I'm also going to be doing two things. Number one, I'm going to be doing a prize draw. There is only one prize, and the prize is worth £1,000. And obviously, if you've got to be in it to win it, which means you've got to be here because there's something you've got to respond to in order to be able to win that prize. But we'll get to that. And then I've had a lot of questions sent in our one question survey that we ask when people come and join us on events like this. And I've got a list of all those questions, and I'm going to hold all of those right till the very end. So when we're finishing in the end of 40 minutes time, I'm going to hold those. I don't think I've got anything on my agenda for the following 7 hours. So I'll stay for a few of those and answer all those questions for you. So let me give you a little bit of background. I'm not going to talk a lot about me tonight, but a little bit of background. I've been in business now for, would you actually believe it? I'll lean closer to the camera. 52 years. 52 years I've been in business. And one of the major businesses, I had a private detective agency, and then I built a business called Compass Leasing PLC. And there is a picture of Compass Leasing. And Rachel, my PA, who's still working with me now, we've been working together for 38 years. She's there in that picture. You can see how long ago that was and what a brilliant business that was. And I sold that business to a main board public company for a few £1 million and semi-retired when I was 42. But obviously things like that don't last. And unfortunately, the shares fell out the sky and cost me lots of money. So I sat down one day and said, Peter, what do you love doing? I love standing and speaking. I love sitting and speaking and sharing my ideas. So I decided I would do that. And the reason I was able to sell that business was this, and it is what I call the secret of success. And the secret of success is learning from other people. And the reason I know that to be true is this. When I was running Compass Leasing, I had a piece of direct mail from a company called Nightingale Conant, and it was advertising this program called Lead the Field by Earl Nightingale. You can see how old it is, can't you? It's all of those years ago. This is the original one that I had, and you can see there's Nightingale on the back. And I could have this with no risk to me whatsoever. And I thought, Peter, you would be stupid not to take up that offer. So I did take up the offer, and I became an audio junkie, and I listened to these ideas. I applied these ideas in my business, and that's what enabled me to build it from 0 to 65 people, fantastic turnover, and sell it for an awful lot of money. And then when things had got a bit south after we had sold it, I went to Nightingale Conant, having made a program of my own, which was called, and here it is, Action is the Key. This is way back when, isn't it? Look, I'm going to open this and remind us all. Whoops, cassettes. Cassettes. Do you remember the days of cassettes, listening to those in the car? I do. And Nightingale Conant, I took it to them and said, will you sell this for me? And they said, well, we like you, we like your voice, but we don't want to sell that particular program, but there's something we'd like you to do, and we'd like you to revoice this, Lead the Field. You can see this is the crinkly one. Right, and this is the smoother one. Obviously, this is the one I did. On the back of here is Earl Nightingale, and there is me in a suit and tie and hair. Isn't that fantastic? All of those years ago. And so I know that being in the business where, just like me and you, we share our knowledge, our experience, our expertise to help other people be more successful. That is the business we're in. So I'm going to give you a number of ideas to share what it is that you know with people, and also how you can be more successful in your business. Now, here's part of the problem that is the challenge for us. Let me just take those slides back one. And this is the first thing I'm going to share with you. And this is, it's not you. The problem isn't you when it comes to fees. The problem is your attribution. And I say that with all good intent for you. And here is the problem. Unfortunately, most professionals are undercharging, not because they are not good enough, but because they believe the wrong things about their value. And here is the problem. Most people reach the limit of their belief well before they reach the limit of the talent. Said to me by a very good friend of mine, Jeff Pettit, who used to be, unfortunately no longer with us, used to be a football referee, a professional football referee. What a wonderful expression. Most people reach the limit of their belief well before they reach the limit of their talent. And here was one of the things, one of the mistakes that we make. This is called the fundamental attribution error. And let me explain it to you. The fundamental attribution error is this. We judge other people by their actions. We judge ourselves by our intentions. Let me give you an example. Let's say me and you were having a meeting together, and we're waiting for a third person to come and join us. The person's name is Fred. And Fred, as always, Fred's late. And I turn around to you and I go, "God, that Fred, he's always late." I label him as a late person. In another meeting, you're having a meeting with Fred and I'm due to come along and join you. And unfortunately, I'm late. I walk in the door and I say, "God, the traffic out there is terrible." You see, I've judged myself on my intention to be here, not my action. And this is a mistake we can make with people, which we need to avoid, because we don't want to be labeling people at their identity level, because the identity level is really important. So we want to make sure that we're not labeling people identity, we're labeling them perhaps on their actions. So that's how we tend to judge ourselves, is on our intentions. Now, what's the next level thinking on this? Well, the next level thinking, and we're going to talk a number of times about this idea of next level thinking, and here it comes. This is the pricing attribution error. Pricing attribution error. And unfortunately, so many people base their pricing on time and not on transformation. In other words, the transformation that we do for our clients by sharing with them our knowledge, our experience, our expertise, and the magic ingredient, which is our take on it. So let's make sure that we start charging with awareness of not undervaluing what it is that we have and the impact that we make to people. Because what we've got to do is this: we've got to price based on value, not on hours. So here's my question to you: what is the value you deliver? What is that value? Is it a monetary value? Is it an emotional value? How are you measuring that particular value? And how are you explaining your value to your clients? What is it that they get out from it, from your intervention with them? And more importantly, what is the cascading impact that you make in our world? And when I say cascading, I know many of the people on this meeting tonight. And I know many of the people that I meet regularly. I've met with them for a long, long time. And I know, just like you, just like me, we provide fantastic ideas to our clients and we do help them have a major impact for them. But it's not just an impact for them, it's an impact for the people in their business or their lives or their community or their suppliers or the tax man or the community or the world. When we do what we do, we don't drop a minute pebble in the pond. We throw in a flipping great boulder and that ripples outward. We do this cascading impact in the world. That's the difference that we make. And when we make this difference, we need to be rightfully, royally, and regularly rewarded. I'm glad I managed to get that out tonight. Rightfully, royally, and regularly rewarded for the difference that we make. But let's take it up to a different level. We need to make sure that we're thinking in this way. This is what I call next level thinking again. What's the value of the value? You see, let's think for a moment. Let's say from a commercial point of view, we talk about money because it's easy to think of it in this way. Let's say you or I or anybody else that we know does what we do and helps a client make £100,000, dollars, whatever it happens to be. That's only the value. But what is the value of that value? What are they going to do with the money? Are they going to get their aged parents into a great facility so they feel fantastic? Is that what they're going to do for them? Might it be that? Are they going to buy a new car? They're going to help the kids go through college or university or school, whatever it is. Are they going to take all their family on holiday, buy a new house or a new car? What are they going to do with the money? Because what it is they do with the money, that's the value of the value. You see, here's the problem when we only talk about time-based pricing. Time-based pricing punishes efficiency and dilutes perceived expertise. Take screen grab. By all means, take a screen grab. Time-based pricing punishes efficiency and dilutes perceived expertise. I was talking to a friend and private client of mine today, and I made this point to her. And in fact, I think she's actually on the call. Her name's Jill. And this is the thing I'm going to say. Let's imagine you can help somebody make £10,000 and you've decided and they've agreed that you'll pay you 10%. So you get paid £1,000. How long does it take you to tell them that idea? What about if you could tell them an idea in 5 minutes and they could take it away, they could use it, make 10,000 and pay you 1,000? Would that be fair? Answer, yes, of course it would be. What about this though? What about if you gave them an idea and they made £100,000 and they were still going to stick to their agreement with you and they're going to pay you £10,000, but you only paid 5 minutes to show them the idea? Would it be fair you got £10,000 for the 5 minutes? Answer, yes, of course. They made 100, you got your 10%. But what about if they made £1,000,000? Would it be fair that you got £100,000? Answer, yes. Would it be fair if they made 100 million, they gave you 1 million for that 10 minutes, 5 minutes work? Answer, yes. It's not about the hours. It's not the hours we put in. It's what we put in the hours. So we need to start changing our thinking about pricing, because time-based pricing punishes efficiency. Why? Because we have to spend the day sharing something we could have shared in 1 minute. I love that old story about the guy who goes to a dentist who's a friend. He's got a problem with his tooth and he hates dentists, and he hates his friend as well for being a dentist. And he goes in, the dentist pokes around his mouth, said, "Oh, it's going to have to come out." And the guy goes, "Oh dear, is it going to hurt?" He said, "Well, not too much." And he said, "Well, how long is it going to take?" He said, "Oh, I don't know, about a minute." He said, "Well, how much is it going to be?" He says, £200. He says, £200 for a minute's work? The dentist says, "I can take as long as you like." And that's what we can do, sharing our ideas. We can take as long as I like. We can take a week to share an idea with somebody if it's justified. But sometimes we can share something for 5 minutes that's worth a fortune, emotionally, financially, time, whatever it happens to be. So do not let us make this mistake, because time-based pricing punishes efficiency and dilutes perceived expertise. Experts are able to do things at a speed that non-experts are not able to do. So let's look at power positioning and why you deserve more. Here's a tray. If we had time to do the major exercise on this, I would do a big exercise. As you can see, it's made of wood. It's got a beautiful dragon design. It's a fantastic thing. Now, let's imagine that it's for sale in a mid-range department store. Because I'm based in the UK and I've lived here all my life, then for me, that would be something like, I don't know, a mid-range Lewis's or something like a mid-range department store. Here's the question, and I want you to do this in the chat box, and you gather I'm going quickly, so you'll have to be fast. How much is that tray for sale at in a mid-range department store? It's about this big. It's made of wood. It's very nice. It's beautifully. I'm not asking you how much you pay for it. How much is it for sale at? Answers in the chat box, please, fast as you can. Wonderful, wonderful. I hope you can see all these this chat box stuff. I haven't got time to bring it all on screen, but I'm just going to scroll down it and see for myself. Oh, wow, there's some amazing, amazing prices coming in there. Absolutely. Joseph, I'm going to be working with you, my friend, if it's £500, that one. Oh, 75 from Ros and £80 from Daryl. Right. Now I'm going to change it, but I'm only changing one factor. It's now for sale in a big department store in London. You get to take it home in a green and gold bag and look posh to your friends. Now, the department store is called Harrods. How much is it for sale at in Harrods? It's still brand new, it's still in the packaging. How much is it for sale at Harrods? In the chat box, please. I'm going to say the word Harrods. Rach, type Harrods in the chat box. Oh, too late. I can see from the numbers it's definitely going to be Harrods. Fantastic stuff. I love it. Okay, £5,000. Arthur, I've got 3 of them for sale. I've booked you down for one. Okay, let's do it one more time. Now it's for sale in a backyard sale or a car boot sale. You know the sort of place I'm in, still brand new, still in the packaging. In the chat box, please. What price now in the car boot sale? Oh, look at these numbers. They've fallen through the roof. It's amazing. Now, if we had time, I'd ask you all the reason that could possibly have happened. I'm going to tell you because I want to get all of these things done for you in such a short period of time. And it is this. It's the brand. It's the brand of the supplier. Everything we can talk about, we can do all sorts of things, perception, venue, all the rest of it comes down to perception, the perception of the brand of the supplier. So here's my question to you. What's the perception of your brand in the marketplace? What's the perception of your brand in the marketplace, right? Because that will make such a difference, won't it? You see, what we need to do, let's go next level thinking for a moment. And what we need to be thinking about is your status in the marketplace to make sure your brand is there. Have you got great testimonials? Have you got authority status? Have you got authority signals? Here's some authority signals for you. Robert Cialdini, Professor Robert Cialdini, I'm sure we all know his name, Professor Robert Cialdini, Influence, Science and Practice, the author. Well, I've met him and I've interviewed him for one of my programs years ago. And he said, if you want to be perceived as an authority, 3 things must be in play: your title, your trappings, and your clothing. Your title, your trappings, and your clothing. So when we talk about title, how about this? Have you got a strapline? Have you got a strapline? Does it say under your name who or what you are? Now, you can do it in 3 things. You see, mine is just down there, isn't it? And if you saw one of mine earlier, in fact, I can actually make it happen. If I go to there, you'll see this one come in, I think. Did that come in? Probably did. Yeah. No, it didn't. Okay, doesn't matter. Okay, so we'll go back to me, and oh, that's that one up there. Yeah. Can you see that one? And that says the UK's most prolific business development author, which is true. But this one then says helps you get rewarded for the value you deliver. So you can have three types of strapline. It can be number one, what you are, who you are in the marketplace, your positioning statement effectively, or it can be what you do, or it can be the benefit that your clients get from you. So who you are, what you do, or the benefit clients get, or you can have a combination. So that one I've put down there, what's there now, is a combination of the second two, helps you get rewarded for the value you deliver. One of the other ones I use is Peter Thomson, turns your knowledge, experience, and expertise into ongoing streams of cash. There's another one that tells you what I do and what you get out of it. So if we have a strap line, it positions us in the marketplace. And I'm going to give you another major way. I've just got somebody's screen come up. Hang on, let me just get rid of this. Excuse me a second, because it isn't the way of my screen, just to admit that. Okay. Here's another way that you can differentiate yourself in the market, right? And I'm going to ask you, what do you think is your differentiation, right? What do you think might be your differentiation? And I'll tell you one, it definitely is, and you can use it from this moment forward. Why is your differentiation? Now, you'll notice when I went on the previous one, it says, what is your differentiation? If I could say that, hang on a minute, get my teeth in. What is your differentiation? And I put a question mark behind it. But on the next slide, it says, why is your differentiation? Because why you do what you do is your differentiation. Let me explain. Let's imagine for a moment you want to talk to your client about how you can help them. Now, there's three factors that come into play here: your ideal client, your ideal offering, and your ideal offer. Your ideal client, we're not talking about that tonight. Your ideal offering, think of it as a ring. What goes in the ring to explain what it is you do for people? Well, there's four things that go in: what it is, what it has, what it does, and why. What it is. What is it that it is? What do you do? What is it? What is it? What does it have? What are the factors? What are the elements of it? Is the coaching? Is it that you have a webinar? Is there, what else is there that what it is, what it has? So what it is, what it has. Next, what's the benefit people get? In other words, what does it do? What it does? What it is, what it has, what it does. And here's the differentiation. Oh, said it right that time. Here's the differentiation. Why? And the why means why you do it in the way you've decided to do it. Why? Because you are the expert. You are the expert looking for relational clients, not a non-expert looking for transactional customers. You don't want transactional customers because they're going to argue on pricing, going to treat you like a box of cereal. We don't need that. We're looking for relational clients who expect you to be the expert and expect you to walk your talk and have that differentiation. Why? Because you can differentiate yourself simply by telling people why you do what you do. Even Simon Sinek, whichever pronunciation you prefer, it's a beautiful book. Start with why. It's so true. People don't, as Simon said, I'll change it slightly. People don't buy what you do, they buy why you do what you do. He said it fractionally different, but I like the rhythm of my version. People don't buy what you do, they buy why you do what you do. So work out your why. You're the expert. Why have you decided to deliver what it is that you deliver in the way you've decided to do it? That why will separate you from the crowd and help you create what's often called a category of one. So let's have a look at another way that we're going to do that. And what we're going to do now is we're going to package it, and you're going to create for yourself a deluxe and double deluxe version. And this is going to help you make more money because you've delivered more value to your clients. Most things in life have a deluxe or double deluxe version of them. You can get on a plane, you can go in capital class, you can go in premium level, and you can go in first class. The plane's going in the same place at the same time, but there's a deluxe version of it. You can get in a train to London and you can pay £6.95 or you can pay 300 quid. There's a deluxe version sometimes because you booked it too late. There's a deluxe version of most things in life. Think about a car. You can buy any car, it will get you from A to B. But you can buy a deluxe or double deluxe or even triple deluxe version of transport. And so it is with sources. So it is with everything in life. There is a deluxe version. When I say everything in life, I actually mean, what about everything in your life? Is there a deluxe version of your offering? Have you got an offering with what it is, what it has, what it does, and why? And then you have a better version of that. Let me tell you a surprising thing that people have a deluxe version of: funeral plans. There are even deluxe versions of funeral plans. You can have a cardboard box for 1,500 quid or 1,800. You can have a mahogany one for £4,000. Well, let's do some next level thinking. Here's the question. What could I, I'm putting it in your language, what could I possibly add to my offering to give greater value to my clients? Here's a document for you to make life easy. All you do, down the left-hand side, let me take this at a different pace. I'll have a swig of my tea. Down the left-hand side, you list all the factors of the possible things you could add to your offering for your client. What is it that you could do for them in addition to what you do now? Have no thought about money when you're doing this. You're not going to be thinking, oh, well, they won't buy it. We don't think in that way. Think, what's the best value you could give to somebody? What's everything you could add in? Because you add somebody else into the offering that does something that you don't do to improve that. If you did some delivery of something, could you add a coach that would do coaching behind what it is that you do? So if we look at that document to start with, then we list all the way down the left-hand side what it is that we're going to be offering. Then in the three columns, you can see I've called them, I'm looking at my other screen, Premier, Deluxe, and Double Deluxe. Then what we could be thinking of, at what level, i.e. Premier, Deluxe, or Double Deluxe, does the client get the various elements? And then we go to the bottom of the document, and when we've worked it all out and we can see clearly what they get at each level, then we work out what the pricing is. And this is the beauty, that when we're doing it in this way and we're talking to our clients about the various ways we can help them, if you haven't got a deluxe offering or double deluxe offering, you don't have such an easy way of contrasting the price of the one that you think might be the right one. But we've got to give our clients options. I've found throughout my life, and I've been deluxing since I was a private dick, way back when, 52 years ago, I had a standard offering and a deluxe offering. And I've had deluxe offerings in every business I've run for 52 years. Why? Because some clients want the deluxe version. That's what it is. And if you don't have a deluxe one, you can't offer it to them. And of course, if you don't offer it, if you don't ask, they can't say yes. And I've found invariably, in fact, every time, almost every time, when I've shown people how to do a deluxe and they've taken it to their clients, some people say yes. Here's the thing that I think is an important point for us. It's this, isn't it? That clients want outcomes. They want outcomes. They don't want sessions. They don't want systems. They don't want information. What they're really after is outcomes. Outcomes. This is what's so important. So let's move on to number 3. You gather I'm going backwards. This is what changes it. This is what gives people skin in the game. And that's what we want. We want our clients to put their money on the wheel and then we'll spin it for them. Here's the problem. Low fees reduce belief. They reduce action and sabotage results. Here's what it is. People believe free advice and expensive advice. They believe their brother-in-law down the pub and they believe an expert, right? But they don't believe cheap advice. And when they get advice and it's cheap, they do this. I don't believe it. I don't believe it. And therefore, if they don't believe, they don't take action. If they don't take action, they don't get results. And if they don't get results, they're annoyed with how little they paid. But when people have skin in the game, when they have absolute skin in the game, it makes all the difference, right? Because next level thinking is this: what clients pay is part of their transformation. What clients pay is part of their transformation, because when they have paid enough to have skin in the game, they believe. And when they believe, they take action. When they take action, they get results, and they're delighted with what they paid you. It is the way it works. And what all of this surrounds is we have to learn how to sell. We have to stop selling and allow people to buy. There's no need to go and try sell things to people. Don't do it. Don't do that stuff. We're not transactional people, are we? We're relational people. We help people to solve problems or capitalize on their opportunities. We help them have a better life. My focus for me is to help people build a business and a life of choice. But I don't want to sell it to somebody. I don't want to go and try to convince somebody. I want to be convincing. That's a whole different business. And when we get this thing, learn how to sell, stop selling, allow people to buy, this is what happens. Life gets easy. It's so relaxing. We deal with people who like us and we like them. It's relational. I would say every client I deal with becomes a friend. Right? A friend who trusts me, expects me to be the expert and do for them the best I can do. So here's the thought that I think we need to think about. What's the difference between those people who succeed, who are coaches, consultants, speakers, trainers, entrepreneurs, accountants? What's the difference between those who succeed and those who don't? I know the answer to that question. And here it is. Most people think, excuse me, there's just somebody waiting to get in there. Click. Most people think that the difference is how good they are at doing what they do for their clients. It's not true. Unfortunately, it's not true. The truth is this: it's how good we are at marketing and selling what it is that we do. In other words, how we can persuade with integrity. Now, I've put that at this particular point because before we finish tonight, I want to explain something that I've been doing over the last few months. And what I have been doing is I've been looking back over my 52 years, and particularly the 33 years I've been helping coaches, consultants, speakers, trainers, etc., to be more successful and build for themselves a business life of choice. And I've said, how can I make sure that my information sticks, that it's here for a long time? It's here after I've gone. Right? I hate to think about those things, but nevertheless, we need to be realistic. And so I started end of last year creating programs with all of my material that I've learned over my 52 years in business and my 33 years as an audio learning junkie, right? And the first one I created, I want to explain to you. This is what it's called. It's called the Persuasion Formula, the psychology of influence to master any conversation. Now, you know me, I speak fairly quickly, so I realize that most people want information in short, sharp bursts. They don't want great long stuff. That's another reason why tonight I've decided we'd do this in a 40-minute session. So let me tell you what's on the actual program, right? Because I want to tell you about it. You can see there, it's just 3 hours and 20 minutes of 34 videos. So they're short and sharp and to the point. There's the persuasion formula, how to build deep rapport, the key components, so you can get almost anyone to do almost anything. The mindset that gets this in the right place, how you communicate with confidence, how you gain agreement with people. Here's some of the bits that's in it. There's the powerful 18-word sequence that puts you in control of any meeting you go to, video 15. The pause that makes you more persuasive. And I go into details. I've mentioned it tonight for you, the difference between the transactional customer and the relational client. I mean, I was taught that by Roy H. Williams. Changed my business completely. Why it's the gathering stage that's the important one. The ABC of selling, how to answer the four clarity gaining questions, and why handling objections is the wrong approach and what successful people do, and a counterintuitive three-step process that transforms your ability to persuade others. There's all of that. And in addition to that, there's a copy of my book, Paid, which reveals the 10 secrets to being richly rewarded for the value you deliver and the cascading impact you make in our world. And on top of that, there's something else. There's another book for you, How to Write a Book for Your Business in Just 10 Weeks or Even Less. Here is that book. I do this occasionally, by the way, to reach into my books at the back of me, just to prove that all of this stuff is a real background. These, in fact, are all my books and programs. They're not all of my books and programs because they wouldn't all fit there, but these are all mine. And there is the How to Write a Book book. This was originally called How to Write a Book in 5 Days or Even Less, because it's possible, but I don't think people believe me. So I had to put 10 weeks. And it says, attracts clients, increases your reputation, makes more money. Now, talk about a way of having a category one of separating yourself from the crowd. You must have a book. I'll show you how to do it within this. And then there's something even more exciting, which is this one, Next Level Thinking, Peter the Persuader. I love making AI. And so I've created a piece of AI that's loaded with all the content of the persuasion formula. And so you can have access to that, so you can effectively ask me any questions 24 hours a day about the content if you've got anything to do. Actually, I'm going to, what I'm going to do while I'm doing this, I'm going to bring this on screen. David Howard, thank you, David. That wasn't a setup. Seen it, heard it, bought it, excellent purchase and access to AI. Wonderful, thank you. Oh, there's somebody else. Hang on, somebody else. Jill said it. Highly recommended working through it, bite-sized pieces. Fantastic. Now, the thing comes down to, isn't it? So how much is it? Well, that if we were doing this on a one-to-one basis, it would probably be a series of interventions at £5,000 a time, or around that figure, or maybe even more if you were using me and Darryl and Rachel together as a team to help you. But I decided what I wanted to do was to share my knowledge, experience, and expertise with some skin in the game, so that people would say, yeah, this is worthwhile, and they'd want to go through it. But I wanted to make it accessible to anybody. And a bit like the original Lead the Field program, I want to make an offer that is, I'd have to say to myself, Peter, you'd be stupid to not say yes to that. So here it is. This is how much it is. Right? It is £59. Or if you want to pay in dollars, $77. And that's with the program and all those bonuses I mentioned, with the book, with all the videos online. By the way, beautifully put together. All the videos online. It's £59, including VAT, or $77. You can choose which currency you want to pay in. Here is the link. I know it's weird, but it's quite simple, really. It's Peter Thomson. There's no P in my Thomson, DCH. peterthomson.com/persuasion 382. Do the numbers have any relevance? No. Okay. Oh, by the way, I haven't forgot the prize draw. I will be doing the prize draw, before we finish. Okay. But if you've got your phone with you, here's a QR code. So you can just take a look at that if you like. Have a look at that QR code. That'll take you straight to that site. While you're just looking at that, or taking a photo of that, or take you back one, there is the website address. I'll just have a swig of my tea while you're just doing that. Cool, my face is warm. Mind you, I'm going at such a pace. I'm obviously pumping the adrenaline, aren't I? Right. So I think that is an amazing idea. And I invite you, come and join me in this. Come and join me. I want you to be more persuasive in life. Why? Because it's being more persuasive in marketing sales is the differentiation of those who succeed compared to those who don't. It isn't how well they do what they do. It's their ability to do it for people. How does that happen? Well, they've got to have the people to do it for. That's what it is. So we want to be ethically persuasive. We're not going to try and sell somebody. We're going to be convincing, not convince people. We're going to lay out what we've got in thinking this will be good for them, knowing it will be good for them, and knowing that other people have been there, done it, and it works. There we go. Oh, what's this word here? It's not a word I often use, John Johnson. Bargain, but I suppose I'd have to agree with you. It's a bargain. Okay, and Jerry Briggs says agreed, or agreed, Ed, or even, as he corrected it, even agreed. Fantastic stuff. So you've also got that QR code there. So if you can take a note of that one there, which is great. And then I'll come back to it in a minute, but I want to do the prize draw, and I am going to stay at the end of the question. So here's number 2. So we're coming up to number 1, which is the big one. So number 2, who are you? Who are you? And this is it. It's all about identity. It's all about identity. Long-term change happens at the identity level. And this is why I'm part of it. People will never consistently do who they aren't. This is the main reason that most training doesn't work, by the way, because those people doing the training, and this is a fast training, aren't aligning what they are teaching with who the people are. Now, I've been adding little subtle clues in for you as we're going along, and when you watch the replay, you'll be spotting and go, oh, yes, I see what you were doing there, Peter. Yes, you're making that idea align with who I am. But this is how it works. People will never consistently do who they aren't, which obviously always prompts a question. Well, in that case, who are you? It's really important. So what we need to do in order to live up to this is we need to set our fees so high you're scared to quote them until you grow into the person who will. So when I'm talking to people, I say, well, how difficult would it be? What's the level where you would feel difficult to charge that fee? And they'll tell me the fee, and I say, well, let's start there then. Because I've found, this is going to be hard, by the way, I've found this to be totally true. Most coaches, consultants, speakers, trainers, accountants, business owners are massively undercharging for the value they deliver and the cascading impact they make in the world. This is not about ripping anybody off. This is about value. It's about value. This is the value of the value, the cascading impact. So let's look at the next level. Here is the secret of success. This is the next level thinking. Everything I do at the moment, I go next level thinking. And by the way, I mentioned I've started on this track and taking all my information and putting it into programs online. I've done the second one. I'm not going to be offering talk about, just give you the gist of the second one. Is called the time management formula. Well, as you and I know, you can't manage time. It's impossible. But there are 3 things you can manage, and you can manage, and I'll tell you what they are. There's your attention you can manage. And that's when you know how to do that, boy, the game changes. You can manage your attention, you can manage your energy. Right? I'm managing my energy massively at the moment because I'm really bursting with this. You can see it on my face. I'm so hot and really enjoying this. And you can manage yourself. You can't manage other people. People talking about managing people. You can't manage people. You can possibly lead them. You can't motivate people. You can inspire them. Motivation is an inside job with outside consequences. You can't motivate other people. You might be able to inspire them. So that's the way that works. So let's look at the secret of success. And here it is. Most people, unfortunately, think they have to have things in life, to do things in life, to be somebody in life. Nope. It doesn't work. It's this. It's this way around. It's be, do, have. You have to be that person. Remember, I talked about the identity level? The verb that's used at the identity level is the verb to be. I am. The word used at belief level is I believe. The next one down is capabilities, which is I can. The next one down is behaviors, which is I do. And the last one down is environment or results, which is I have. I am, I believe, I can, I do, I have. Dilt's pyramid stuff, isn't it? You know, I wrote something similar 25 years ago called Wealthy. Follows exactly the same process. You have to be that person first. Why? Because people will consistently do who they are. The flip side of the other expression. People will never consistently do who they aren't, but people will consistently do who they are. So let's take this to the next level, next level thinking. And here it is. The bigger the problem, the bigger the payment. Isn't that just wonderful? The bigger the problem that you solve for your client, this is next level thinking, by the way, bigger problem you solve for your client, the bigger payment they'll pay you. So what's the bigger problems they've got? Are you addressing those bigger problems, or are you letting somebody else come in and address the bigger problems while you deal with the mundane? No, don't do it. Find out the bigger problems. And in fact, I think it's even better than that. Why don't you find out their biggest problem, right? Because you can see that client there is looking to climb that ladder. There's a great big hole through the middle, and you're the expert, and you know that hole's there. And you can tell them that so easily, and you can explain that to them. Because here's the problem when we're talking to our clients. Most of our clients don't ask us the real question. They ask us a question about the wrong answer. And what I mean by that is they have a problem, they work out the solution, they say, oh, I need a widget to solve that. And they come to you and say, have you got a widget? And unfortunately, sometimes we say yes, instead of saying, what's your problem? Because we're the experts and therefore we know we've got to go to the root of the problem and solve that one. We don't want to be answering the wrong question. Most people don't ask you the real question. They ask you a question about the wrong answer. You might have somebody at work who says, do you go home down High Street? It's not the real question. The real question is, can you give me a lift? Your partner's off to the kitchen and you say, are you going to the kitchen? You're not interested. You mean, can you make me a coffee? Most people don't ask you the real question. They ask you a question about the wrong answer. And we need to listen carefully to that. So we need to find out from our clients what's the biggest problem. And then we just need to say to them, what's it costing them? But here's something else, another level thinking. What's it costing you? What's it costing you if you don't help them solve their bigger problems? So let's move on to the last one. The essential first step. It's this. What would you love to be paid? Write it down. What would you absolutely love to be paid? We'll talk, you're not going to charge, you quote it as daily or hourly, but that's not how we think about it. That's not how we work it out. What would you love to be paid? Because here's the truth. The income you receive is a direct reflection of the outcome your client receives. The income you receive is a direct reflection of the outcome your client receives. There it is, income and outcome. Earl Nightingale said on the original Lead the Field, the world looks like a set of apothecary scales, and there they are. And he said the one, unfortunately for them, not like my one, he says the one's labelled service and the other's labelled rewards. And if you're looking in the rewards bowl saying, oh, there's not enough, that's because you haven't put enough in the service bowl. Same for me, because the world will balance the scales. And it's quite simple, isn't it? Is because the way that it works is that if I bring this back up for us, right, the income you receive or I receive is a direct reflection of the outcome your client receives. So think of that, think of next level thinking. When would you like to start being paid this new level? Today? Tomorrow? When are you going to start? Because here's what I believe is the truth. The day will come when you'll start charging what you know you're truly worth, or the day will come when you wish you had. I think the day will come when you'll start charging what you know you are worth, the value you deliver, and the value of the value, and the cascading impact you make in our world. But it is just a matter of doing this, isn't it? We need to decide. That's what we need to do. We need to dare to do it. Decide, act, raise the fee, and enjoy. Why? Because you deserve it. Because it's fair, because it's honourable, because it's reasonable, because it's just. Because we want to be rightfully, royally, regularly rewarded. Oh, did it again. For the value we deliver and the cascading impact we make in the world. While I'm looking at this, well, I'm going to ask you this question because we're there and I'm going to do the prize draw. In the chat box, answer this question for me, please. Out of everything I've covered in this quickfire session, what was the one key thing you learned because you didn't know it? Or you relearned it because you did know it, but it's something you went, yes, Peter, I'm going to take it away and use it. What was that key thing, right? Dare, fantastic. Love it. Keep these going. I'll be putting some of these things up for you. Perception of the brand, the DARE acronym. Okay, Deluxe and the tray. Okay, I relearned loads as I always do. Thank you, Diane. Love to have you back again. Billy, yeah, what's your biggest problem? Exactly, Billy. Perfect for your marketplace. Be do have brand value. Identity from Darren. Thank you, Darren. Paul Castle, great. What's your differentiation? Neil. Oh, this is just fantastic, guys. Absolutely fabulous. Let me just take that off again for a moment. Take that away. I mean, it's going so fast, isn't it? So while you're doing that, what I need to do is look on my phone. And what I've got on my phone here is I have an app, and it's a random letter generator. And the way it works is this. The prize is going to be an hour one-on-one with me. Well, I will help you make more money or do what you want to do within the compass of the things that I do, right? For an hour, I charge £1,000. So that's why that's what it's worth, £1,000. And the way we're going to work out who it is, in full view of you, I'm going to tap this and it will immediately throw up a letter. This is the letter that's the beginning of your surname. And the first person with a surname beginning with that letter who puts it in the chat box wins, right? So if you've got your mind switched on, you know how to game that system. So I'm going to do it now. It's the starting letter of your surname. Here we go. And it's gone again. Sharon's there. So it is your surname begins with I. Oh, that's an unusual one. Has anybody got a surname beginning with I? I think of Ibex. No, we've got no I's. Well, in that sense, it doesn't seem anybody's put it in. So I'm going to do it again. So if you are, you're going to be late. You're going to miss it. Yeah, nice try, Joseph. Ha ha ha. Surname beginning with clear S. Oh, Paul Slattery, you were so fast. Patel, I think you won it, didn't you? Did Patel win that? I think did he? Was it Paul? I'm not surprised. Why am I not surprised? I'm going to look forward to that conversation, that's for sure. So Paul is our prize draw winner. Just fantastic. So look, I've done the prize draw. Let me just go on to here. I'll go on to this next bit. So let me just remind you to go and get your copy of Persuasion. It's just £59 or $77, as you know. You get the second book, which is this one, as you know. You get this one, How to Write a Book. You get a copy of it. You can see it over there. The paid book, The 10 Secrets of Being Properly Rewarded for the Value You Deliver and the Cascading Impact You Make in Our World. You get the full 34 video program. Here is the QR code for you as well, which is coming up there. There's the QR code for you if you haven't taken a note of the address. And this is what it's all about. It looks good, doesn't it? Isn't that wonderful? Right, got Smiley Me, 34 videos. The Psychology of Influence to Master Any Conversation. Wow, fantastic stuff. Only £59.77. And if I go back from here, there you go. I've got the QR code and you've got that there. And Rachel, I'm sure, will put that in the chat box as well. So I think it would be a good idea if I answered some of the questions for you. And here they are. Right. Okay, well, J. David Bennett said, thank you for doing it in the right time zone. Yes, so thank you for that lovely comment. James Robertson, which is fantastic. My father's name was Robertson. Actually, he was Robertson Thomson, but they didn't give me the Robertson bit. Major William Ian Robertson Thomson was my dad. Look, for those of you old enough, and I'm sure plenty of us are, you'll remember Lancelot Spratt in the James Robertson Justice. Well, my dad was a spitting image of him. And James Robertson said, how do I get quality leads? I could talk about that for the next 3 hours or 3 weeks, as you realise, James. But I think if I was going to pick one for you, I would say using a book for marketing. And what you need to do, I believe, is if you write a book that has a title with these 3 elements on them, this is good for everybody, by the way. Here we go. The person, the problem, and the promise. If the title of your book does that, look at this one here. Right? coaches and consultants. Implied problem is that you haven't got a book. How to write a book for your business in just 10 weeks or even less. And here's the promise. There's the 10 weeks is a promise. Attracts clients, increases your reputation, makes more money. Then you could put that out in the marketplace. You could offer that book. I will often put books, physical books, in the post to people. Why? Because I don't think people throw physical books away. But they don't read PDFs. They may not read the book you send, but I think they've got it, and they, position you. And of course, on the back, you've got the proper word is the bump, by the way. It is the proper word. And so you can have a picture of you, there's a picture of me there, some details of you and the content, etc. So offering a book in the marketplace that indicates the sort of client you want to deal with, who's got a problem that you can solve and the promise that you will, is a beautiful way of getting people to put their hand up in the marketplace, not just like this, but to go, yeah, it's me, I want it, please. Right. So I think book marketing would answer that. Andrew Kemp says, what is the principal factor that sets me apart from my competition such that price becomes secondary or irrelevant? The way to do this is to have what's called a category of one and decide what are the various things that you can claim that puts you, when you add them all together, not maybe just on their own, but puts it all together, makes you a category of one. So is there a particular group of clients that you specialize in? Can you make that niche tighter? Is there a particular area that you can add to that? Is there a particular problem that you solve for those people? So you've got this group of people, tight niche, in this particular area who have got this problem. Oh, we're starting to get close now, aren't we? Starting to understand that. Now, what else can you add to that list to make it more and more definitive so it's just those people? And then if you add in what it is, what it has, what it does, and why you, Andrew, have said this is the way to solve that problem, then you're starting to put information in there, a principal factor, if you like, by establishing you as the go-to person. In fact, as my friend Jason says, the natural, logical, and emotional the natural, logical, and emotional solution for your ideal client. I think that could help you. And again, I could spend hours just talking on it. Right, okay. Andrew, we're going to ask me this question. I'm going to give you a very glib answer, so forgive me, because the question was, how do you know when you're charging the right fee for the client? And I'm sure some other people on this call will know what I'm going to say here. They say yes. Right, so that's the glib answer. Right, but the reason is that you're testing it in the marketplace. And the reason you do that, and the way that you do that, you make certain that you always have a deluxe version of what it is that you offer, and you always use contrast whenever you're quoting fees. Why do you do that? Because without contrast, everything sounds expensive or cheap, and you don't know which it is. So even when you're dealing with a relational client, we need to contrast the price, and this is how you do it. You price your fees based on the contrast between the finance. I'll say it again. You price your fees based on the contrast between the financial and emotional cost of the problem they have at the moment or the missing opportunity compared to the investment in your solution. I'll say it again slowly. You price fees based on the contrast between the cost, financial and emotional, of the current situation or the lack of the potential future situation or what was happened in the past compared to the investment. And I've used the word appropriately in your solution. Now, when I'm talking to clients, I don't use the word investment because I think it's a bit of a weasel word. I think you're trying to hide behind it. Now, we all know, don't we, that training that works is an investment. Training that doesn't is a cost. It's pretty obvious stuff. Like most things, if it works, it's an investment because you get a return on it. If it doesn't, it's a cost because you didn't. Okay. So hopefully that would help you in some way there. Graham, I love this question. This is Graham Hudson. I know Graham very well. He's a good friend of mine. What question would I ask that makes clients say, I'd never thought of that, to build credibility? And I want to answer that question. So I think it's something that I will take away and think more about. But the only thing I comment to put alongside of it, Graham, in order to be able to answer it, I needed more context. Now, I know your context, but to make it relevant for everybody, I'd need to share that context with them. And because we've got the lines blocked on the mute, I'm going to forgive me. I'm going to put it on one side. But if you email me, because you have my email, I will answer that in more detail and I can publish it. Oh, Paulette's there. Okay, Paulette Ensign, another good friend of mine. Boy, did she teach me something so important early in my career. It was all about tips booklets. Thank you, Paulette, forever. What guides your pricing when there is no standard pricing, for instance, in content licensing deals? For me, Paulette, it's back to just what I was touching on a moment ago, which is what is the outcome they're likely to get financially, and therefore that's how I will contrast it. So I want to contrast the potential outcome, or I want to contrast the cost of not solving the problem that what it is we offer solves. But in your case, it would be the cost of the outcome. So if you were able to do a content licensing deal with somebody, what is the potential that will make them? And what would you feel that they were likely to agree to in pricing in order to make that come together? You know, would it be 10%, 20%? Is it a percentage only? Is it a fee plus a percentage? So I think it's understanding, and this is the same in lots of different things, not just content licensing. What is the potential financial impact we're going to make for somebody, and how does that compare? Back to what I was saying earlier in this session, if you can make someone £1 million and you agree 10% and they pay you 100,000, and you told it them in 2 minutes, you're still worth 100,000, got nothing to do with time. So I think that might help. But again, if you wanted to drop me an email, you got my email, I'll certainly give more thought to it. Jerry, I need to come back to you separately on that. Mike Hicks, how to provide, Mike lives in France, how to provide when asked to bid against a couple of other providers, so identity and pricing unknown. What I've got my thought is a great question, Mike. Let me say it slowly so people understood it. How to price when asked to bid against a couple of other providers whose identities and likely pricing is unknown. This was my answer to it. Remember, I'm doing quite short answers. I wrote down this answer. Add extras they can't compete with on price. So what would you add, Mike, if price wasn't a factor? And how can you add a number of things that have little inherent cost to you, but high perceived value to the client that other people never have thought of? And the way you'll come to that is either do the deluxing exercise, but don't change the pricing, or say to yourself, and I learned this from Joanna Martin, if you had a magic wand and you could give your client anything, absolutely anything that was relevant within the context we're discussing here, that would make their lives better within that, or maybe on the periphery of that, or maybe on before they come to that problem, or maybe after they have that problem, you've solved it. So think of that as a timeline, what happens before, now, and after. What could you possibly add in that other people never dream of adding in? And then when you talk about what you can do, it has all that extra benefit and value for your client, but you've decided because of its low inherent cost to you, but its high perceived value to the client, to add it to the deal. Hopefully that would help lots of us. Right, what is the most common issue high-paying clients meet? This is from Maria, right? And I think it's this, and we've talked a number of ways of getting around this today, is the belief in the supplier, right? And the reason I think is that the supplier is treating the high-paying client as though they were a transactional customer and not a high-paying client. High-paying clients are usually, you'll think this is strange, but I believe this to be true, silently begging to be led. They're looking for someone they can completely trust. They know them, they like them, and they trust them. And they are prepared to pay high fees. If you position yourself as a heart specialist, you don't want a cheap one, do you? Right? You don't want an ex-butcher on his kitchen table with a blunt knife. You want the right level of expertise. And if you position yourself as being that person, that category, we're getting to that point, then that's what high paying clients are looking for. And therefore, the most common issue they meet is meeting people who are not positioned to deal with high paying clients. They start selling. You don't need to sell. They start convincing. You don't need to convince. You need to be convincing. You don't need to sell. You need to learn how to sell. Stop selling and allow people to buy. That's what you get in the persuasion formula. I show you exactly how to learn how to sell. Stop selling and allow people to buy by the way in which you do it, which is why the mindset and the techniques and the understanding of the psychology of persuasion, ethical persuasion, is just so important. Steve says, oh, Peter, what's your most important business learning? I have it simply. It is 4 letters, DDWT. It stands for this: don't deal with tossers. There you go. There's my most important lesson for all of us tonight. Don't deal with tossers. Right. Next one, Andy Clayton. How do you know a client will pay? Different clients have different budgets and different cost opportunities. Let me say it slowly. I've got an important choice for this. Important answer. Andy Clayton, how do you know what price a client will pay? Different clients will have different budgets and different cost appetites. It doesn't matter. They don't pick you. You choose them. You choose them by the way in which you do your marketing and sales. And by the way, my friend Steve Bimpson says this. Thank you, Steve, for reminding me always of this. It's not sales or marketing. It's marketing and sales. Right? So it's marketing comes first. And it's how you go out to the market, how you position you at the market to attract those ideal clients, those people you love to work with. Because then you don't get into this thing about price. Because when you deal with relational clients, price becomes a factor, not the factor. When you deal with transactional customers, it's the factor and always will be because it's a transaction. They don't care about you and whether you make any money. This is Fred who wants to buy a new car and beats up 3 different suppliers until he gets them to do it for next to nothing. And the only way to upset him is to tell him he could have bought it for £100 cheaper after he's already bought it. Then he's going to be really angry. Well, that's not what we're looking for. We're DDWT. I'm not interested, thank you. Not for me. Right, Neil Bryant, how to position cost, price and value effectively in a proposal. Right, I've got a fantastic idea for you here. I don't know many people have heard me talk about this. I don't often come on this. I'll tell you how to do this. Create for yourself a proposal document that the client has to sign in order to get you to send a proposal. And you go through that document in the meeting, having done your gathering. And by the way, most of the selling takes place in the gathering stage as people sell themselves and their answers to your well-crafted questions. If you got that, I'll say it again. The selling takes place in the gathering stage as people sell themselves in their answers to your well-crafted questions. And when you get to the point of the conversation about proposal, you bring out your proposal document and you go through it with the client saying, basically, what do you want in the proposal? And then when you get to the end, you say, so gently, if my proposal covers this, you're likely to go ahead? Well, what are they going to say? They've just told you what to put in it. And then you ask them to sign it and date it, so that you can prepare the proposal. Now, you've got to be confident to do that. You've got to live in a little village just south of Arrogant. So you've got to be a confident person to be able to do that. But if you've got that confidence and that belief in the efficacy of the solution that you have and the confidence to deal with it and that you're acting in alignment with your identity, you'll find that's easy to do. Anyway, good idea. There we go. Jim Jordan, how do you charge higher prices in a recession? Jim, there is no difference. There is no difference. And that sounds glib. And trust me, 52 years in business, been through a few of these. Don't have all the answers, but this is my take on it, is there are always people in hard financial times who succeed. And there are always people in good financial times who don't succeed. So it makes me think it can't be the financial times, right? Now, most recessions are caused by newspapers, who successfully forecast most recessions because they cause them. We don't want to be going in that game. There are enough clients in the world who want what you want at the price you're prepared to accept, who are relational, not transactional. And all you have to do is do marketing and sales, not sales and marketing, and position yourself in the marketplace to attract those people you love to work with. Price doesn't come into it, Jim. That's transactional. If you'd want a longer conversation, you know where I am. Peter Chester asked me, I'm coming towards the end of these. Can you state a great piece of business advice in less than 5 words? I can do it in 1 word. Deluxe. Roy Bayliss, can you identify the one mental attitude overcomes the fear and price for competition, Uncle Peter? Yes, indeed. It's this, Roy, and I know you know this, by the way. There is only one of you. Some would say, fortunately, there is only one of you, right? There is only one Roy Bayliss. You are unique. And it's a false comparative if you try and qualify the word unique. You even hear BBC announcers saying very unique and almost unique. That's crazy. You can't qualify unique. I mean, it's a false comparative. If you're unique, you're unique. If you're the best, you're the best. If you want it not to be, superlative, you've got to say the better of two. But it's only the best. There's only one. There's only the one. So start to be the only one. And think of it in this way. How much do you want for a day of your life? If I want to have a day of your life, what would you be prepared to sell it for? Probably a better price than you may have considered before, Roy, although I know you know these things. And Bernard Pierce, how to differentiate those prepared to pay higher fees from those who can't afford to? Right. The way that you do this, Bernard, is the qualification process and putting barriers in the way. Right. So this is what happens. You never call anybody. They have to call you. I know a couple of my clients that do this. Right. They won't phone. The other person will be given their number and they have to phone. If they don't phone, they're never chased. Right. So again, you're positioning yourself as the go-to person, the natural, logical, and emotional choice for your ideal client. So you set it in such a way that you are the expert. You walk like an expert, you talk like an expert, you have a website like an expert, and a LinkedIn like an expert, as you do, right? And you set it up in that way, and you decide on the qualification process. I'm using emotive language, the hurdles that I don't like that language really, but I'm using it to make the explanation. The hurdles they have to jump over in order to be able to get to Bernard. Right, right, three of these. Oh no, it's only two of them because I answered Jay David's already. Arthur Rigo. Is that Rigo or Rego? Which one? Should be Rigo, shouldn't it, with one G? How to attract the right customer whose price is not an issue when it comes to marketing all of my all-in-one bot licenses. Again, Arthur, I think it's a case of having absolute clarity on your client avatar so that you know exactly who you're looking for, where you will find them, and then putting appropriate pieces of information in the marketplace. And I'm sure if you're doing that, you're a content marketer, that bring, by the title of the content you put out, the right people into the top of your marketing funnel. Again, something I could go into great detail, but for the sake of where we are tonight, hopefully that would be suffice. And John Johnston, how to best communicate your USP to convey your true value that differentiates you from the competition. I've got an answer to this, John. I'm going to pull your leg with it, but I think you probably put it on the cover of your book. I think that John's in the process of writing a book, by the way. That's why I said that. But I think you have to put it everywhere, and you have to go back to the exercise that I suggested for somebody earlier. Perhaps when I was talking to Mike Hicks and saying, what else could you add in? Is to start to think, John, what else you could add into that value proposition as a starting point. And then you've then got to, and you'll probably use AI to do this, is to then chunk it down to a short, sharp piece of content that someone can grasp immediately. Right? I mean, you can see in what it says below my name here, that didn't start there. It started with a lot of words, right? So, helps you get rewarded for the value you deliver. It's the summary of those words. So maybe that's what I was saying there, John. And next time we're chatting, by all means, ask me the question again and I'll go through it. So this is where we've got to. So let me finish off with that, which is obviously the address. That's the QR code. That's what we've been talking about. And hopefully all of these things have been fantastic for you. If you've got any other questions, I'll have a swig of my tea. If you want to throw them into the box where we're still a few of you left here, then by all means I will do. Oh, thank you for all your thank yous. I appreciate that. Thank you very much indeed. And if you wanted to add another one, which was the key idea you got from here, then that would be wonderful. But thank yous are equally good for me to read while I'm having my dinner. Thank you, Daryl. That was wonderful. Thank you. Thank you, Jerry. Always good to have you there. And likewise, Jill. In fact, let me bring some of these up on screen. Hang on a second. Let me get these going. Right. It's great that I can bring them on screen. Illy, thank you very much indeed. Oh, thank you, Paul. That is lovely of you. Appreciate it. Looking forward to our conversation, Paul, as the winner. Thank you, James. I'm glad it was thought-provoking. Right. And Bob. Always uplifting. Thank you, Bob. That's lovely of you. And thank you for all these lovely comments that you've got. Thank you, Rachel, for making all of this come together, as you always do. I gather we were going out live on LinkedIn, on Facebook and YouTube all at the same time. But of course, they do tend to get it a little bit later. So I can't really deal with the comments they make because they'll come in about 7 seconds late. And so I'm talking about something, I see a comment, and I've got nothing to do what I'm talking about, it tends to throw me. So usually if I do want those comments, I get Rachel to bring them in, and then she puts them in at the right timing for me to make sure that it's there. So thank you, Rachel, for doing that. Thank you, Daryl, for all the help that you give me in everything that we do. Thank you all for being here tonight. I really do appreciate it. Come and join me on the Persuasion Formula. I tell you one thing, it'll change your life. Change mine. It's been a pleasure to be with you. It's been a pleasure to share these ideas. It'll be a pleasure to be with you next time because I'm doing lots of these. I'll see you then. Take care. Goodbye for now.